Hi everyone, this week's Parsha is Parshat Shelach. And in this week's Parsha, we have the famous story of the sending out of the spies, the 12 spies, to the land of Israel, and the spies check out the land, and they come back to the Jewish people, to Moshe, with their reports, and 10 spies come back with negative reports, and 2 spies, famously Yehoshua and Kalev, come back with positive reports of what they saw in the land. Now, what did the negative reports say? They said there are these giants, and there's a lot of obstacles that we're going to have to overcome, and it's going to be too difficult for us. And some say that the punishment for this, the Chet HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies, was that the Jews had to continue in the desert for more years, and that whole generation of people that were living during the time of the spies, during the golden calf, had to be wiped out before as the Jewish people entered the land of Israel, except for Yehoshua and Kalev, notably, the 2 spies who came back with positive reports. Now, let's think about this a little bit. I think for parable's sake, for all of my viewers that live in the Northeast, I think there's a very relatable parable to the story of the spies that actually happened last night, and that is the story of the New York Knicks. Now, what happened with the New York Knicks? The Knicks were down 29 points in the third quarter of the basketball game. There are only 4 quarters in a basketball game. They were down 29 in the third. And it was really looking grim for the Knicks. And yet, they pulled off the largest comeback in NBA Finals history. They came back from 29 points down, and they won by 1. And the question is, how did they do so? How did they pick up a deficit that was so deep and end up winning the game? Well, if you look at the players that fueled the Knicks 29 point, the run that fueled the completion of that deficit, the players in the game had very different facial expressions than those players that were on the Knicks bench. Now, notably speaking, one of the Knicks starters, Mikal Bridges, was absent for most of that run, and he was substituted by a guy named Jose Alvarado. Now, when you might think to yourself, why is the star player sitting on the bench? Well, when you look at his body language during the game and his facial expressions, he was giving a bad report. He really looked down. He was lethargic. It was no good. So instead, Mike Brown, the head coach, put in a bench player who was much more energetic and much more positive about the outcome of the game, and that ended up fueling a huge run, which ended up allowing the Knicks to win the game ultimately. Now, what can we really learn from the story of the Knicks, relating it to the sin of the spies and the spies going out and searching the land? Well, when the spies came back, all 12 of them, from scouting out the land, they came back saying, the land is indeed filled with milk and honey. It's Eretz Chalav U'Dvash. It's amazing. The land is great. Just like the Knicks know that winning the NBA Finals is a great thing. Yet the spies say it's too difficult. There's too much going on. There's a 7'5" Victor Wembanyama on the other side. He's too big for us, right? We can't defeat him. And that was what the 10 spies said. That was not the right outlook. It was really the 2 players, the 2 spies, Yehoshua and Kalev, that had those positive attitudes toward the land, that had good body language and good facial expressions when facing the people, that were optimistic about overcoming the deficit. That was what allowed them to, Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, to ultimately enter that land of milk and honey. And for parable's sake, that's what all those players that had great facial expressions and great body language, those are the ones that allowed the Knicks to end up ultimately winning the game. So my bracha to everyone this week is that we are able to approach our study of Torah, which we know the result is so sweet, and everything else in our lives that we know that final result is so sweet, we should never give up on it for any kind of so may it seem some kind of deficit or inability to get to that end goal. We should always aspire to push forward to get to that sweet, amazing thing at the end. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Go Knicks.